So this is a memory I have about a girl in my preschool class. And I've since seen her as an adult. And it's kind of it's a little sad on my part because I don't really remember her very much growing up, except for these two details. I remember her name and these two details, and that is it. That is all I know of her. And so when I saw her, now as an adult, it was like, oh, hi. And just, in my head, this little movie played of these two things that I know of her. It was kind of embarrassing because I didn't have much to say and we couldn't really relate or anything. It's not like, hey, you were so into, football when I knew you. Are you still into that? I mean, there's none of this. All I know, these two things. In preschool, I remember walking by her when she was eating lunch at, a little table, and she was eating a sandwich, something with crumbs, and then she reached over and went like this with her fingers, and crumbs fell out. That's it. So she was eating, she had crumbs on her fingers. To get them off, she moved her, and she kind of looked and watched and went like this, and little crumbs fell. So then the next memory I have is several years later in second grade when she was in a different class than I was, but we shared a recess. And I remember one day, it was big news. Some girl ran up to me and said, hey, do you know that Jessie's pregnant? Okay, so this girl was pregnant. And I just remember going over and asking her what she wanted to name the baby. This is like all I cared about, not how did you get pregnant or are you going to drop out of school? None of these questions really existed at this time. I mean, second grade, we're like 7 years old, 8 years old. So this time it's like, oh, well, what are you going to name it? And I just remember she said, Michelle. Those are the only two things I know about this girl, who's now a woman, who I now have seen around town, and I have nothing to talk to her about. I even tried to relay the story of the crumbs in preschool, and she was just like, I don't know what you're talking about. So I still only have two details to connect her with.